Hello everyone and welcome, I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of What If, and the name of the episode was What If Agatha Went to Hollywood. So it looks like this takes place right after the World War, and in fact it takes place around season 2 of Agent Carter. And the reason why I say that is because of the time frame that was happening. Howard Stark was trying to be a movie star director. So he was trying to move away from weapons and get into the moving pictures, as they say, right? So one of his, well, actually his lead star happens to be none other than Agatha Harkness. Now, Agatha Harkness is got ulterior motives to being there. However, though, she is there for a specific reason. So it turns out she is using this movie studio to be a front for what she's trying to do. And so we see that she's trying to absorb the celestial energy underneath in the earth to absorb it so she can then have the power. With that being said, she tries this out a couple of times and it fails significantly. And she realizes there's probably only one way that she's able to do so. So she tells Howard Stark that there's only one way that this will work, meaning that this movie will only work with the best co-star of all, which would be Kingo. Kingo, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He's from the Eternals. So we have him getting shipped through from India because he's a huge Bollywood star. So he gets there, and the two of them begin to discuss what they're going to do. So for the movie, we have him and his team doing more of a Bollywood dance, and we have Agatha and her team doing more of the stereotypical tap dance of the 50s. Well, it looks like 50s, but it could be 40s, 30s. But anyway, I digress. We have that going on, and so we have them going back and forth talking with each other, and it turns out he knows why she called him. Apparently he knows she needs his energy to try to steal the celestial's energy inside of the core of the earth. What he doesn't realize is that the two of them begin to fight, and she starts using the powers of the other Eternals, because apparently she's absorbed their energies. What happens then is, because they're not technically living creatures in the stereotypical sense, they're more like robots. They are basically shells inside of the Hollywood studios. So she's already absorbed them and kept them as props for the movies, which I find to be hilarious. But anyway, so that's why she's able to pretty much take down Kingo, and the two of them begin to fight. So in the end, she convinces Kingo that, you know, Earth shouldn't be destroyed, because they're having this heart-to-heart saying that you don't understand the powers you're dealing with, and she's like, either do you. And she's like, let's be honest, you don't want this world destroyed any more than I do. And that's why you, out of all of the other Eternals, you're the only one that really understands the human condition. I mean, why else would you be acting with all of them? So he hesitates, but then agrees to help her out. When that happens, they find out that Arshram, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, the Red Celestial in the Eternals. He basically is like, you guys need to stop what you're doing, or I should have known that you weren't going to do what you were supposed to be doing. I'm on my way. So they then realize that Ashram is going to be there rather quickly. Agatha and Kingo have to convince Tony Stark and Jarvis to come down and help so they can film this great scene. So they agree. Agatha then, apparently they then talk about what their powers are and everything else, and that's when Howard Stark's like, yeah, I know, I figured she was a witch, and everything else. And they pretty much figure this out when Kingo summons the massive ship, and he goes, oh, I thought you were a witch, I didn't realize you were an alien. She goes, oh, no, I am a witch. He's the alien cyborg. And that's when Howard gets very excited, because he wants to take a look at Kingo at the end of this to see how his body works and everything else. Because he feels like there's going to be a lot of good patents that are going to be a part of him. So anyway, it continues on, and they get back over there, and they begin to get ready for the filming of the final scene. So what happens there is she absorbs the energy from Kingo, which then she shoots the energy down to absorb the energy of the Celestial. She absorbs the Celestial completely, causes a massive explosion of energy, which sends everyone flying out of the filming studio, which is not, no, that's not where they are. There's somewhere else that's larger that can easily be used and cheaply. I'll say it that way. Not so much cheaply, but fast. So anyway, it blows up, and she turns into a massive celestial being. Basically, what happens is she turns into this almost like cosmic being, where she's literally looking like she's part of the stars. And that's the big piece there, right? So she's trying to become part of the stars and everything else, and we see that she does what she needs to do. Okay? So during this, we have her getting ready to fight. Or I'm sorry. So we have her getting all excited and everything else, and then in the end, it turns out to be none other than Ashram, ready to fight her right from the get-go. So the two of them begin to fight, and she begins to hold her own without a problem. It looks like she's kicking his butt. Then he starts smacking her around like it's nothing, and he tries to explain to her that you can't even handle the power of the Celestials. And what happens next is she then begins to open fire on him and misses constantly, and Ashram sort of dodges and everything else. And he's like, you can't even handle the power of a cosmic being. Look at you. You can't even hit me. And that's when she goes, well, to be fair, I have taken you out, and I've actually outsmarted you. And the light around him turns into what looks like the star and pins him down where he's unable to move. And then she absorbs the energy of the Celestial. And that's when everyone's all excited, thinking the world is saved, and she's like, no, I'm now in control of everything, and I can do whatever I want. And that's when Kingo basically explains to her, like, hey, like, we're both pretty much the same. We're actors. And because of that, we want the world to appreciate us. And you're going to want to be down here treated as a god more than you are about doing anything else. And the best way to do that is to continue what we were doing, which was having this film. So Agatha decides that she agrees with him, shrinks herself down to human size, and lives on Earth once again, being a massive Hollywood star. And, talking about how great everything is and everything else. And the episode ends with the Watcher watching, obviously, but we also see 3 Celestials in the background getting ready for what we are assuming is an attack. Because Kingo basically explains, like, hey, there's going to be more Celestials coming. And Agatha's like, I'm not concerned. I'll be ready for them. And the episode alludes to the fact there's going to be a part 2, or at least a continuation of this story in some sort of capacity, where the Celestials are going to try to stop Agatha. But that's how the episode ends. Overall, I liked it. It was definitely not what I was expecting, because I thought this was going to be the episode where it was the musical, because there was a rumor that it was going to be what if Wanda saw musicals instead of movies in her hometown, or sitcoms instead of in her home country. And so that obviously would be imagining that this is the replacement for it. But to be fair, those were thoughts. They weren't necessarily proven. So the fact that this was there was actually really good, and it was well done in the point of, like, being really just well done in general. Really like the story of Agatha, like, finding out that there's a Celestial in the Earth and wanting to have its power, so Earth's not destroyed, because without it she can't live. And if she destroys it, if she takes its power, then she's going to be more powerful than she's ever been. So overall, great episode. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eels signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.